Yo, welcome to Trippy Commentaries and our recap of the 2014 NFL Draft. We're running through the second round. Let's go ahead and take a look at all these players. I'm RJ here with K-Mac.
Let's do this. We're starting off here with pick number 50. The Chargers actually get this spot from the Dolphins in a trade. And I'm going to let you attempt this name because...
well, he's the well-known outside linebacker from Georgia Tech, Jeremiah Atauchu. That's probably actually right, and I like the pickup quite a bit there for San Diego. That was a defense that really played over their heads last year, and I hear so many people say, oh, their defense played pretty good, so, they can kind of worry about offense. But truth of the matter is you can't really hang your hat on that. It's not like, oh, we overplayed so we can rely on that. It's like, okay, you got lucky last year. Let's add some more big time talent into this defense just to make sure it's even better.
Definitely, he fits in their 3-4 system probably better than the other outside linebacker that's available right now. You got to have pressure. You got to have somebody who can play inside and outside because you got to get pressure on Peyton Manning. And to me, if you're the Chargers, that's what you're looking to. How do we beat the Broncos? Because that's probably what it's going to come down to. Like it seems always happens that way.
Now this guy at 51, I felt like he's got a big ego for the Chicago Bears. Big defensive tackle, Ego Ferguson. We did expect the Bears to pick up a defensive tackle, so it's good to see them do it there in the second round. Ego Ferguson, LSU guy there, so I'm sure he's going to fit in nicely. I'm glad they didn't go with Jernigan higher, in the first round.
I think this is good for Ego Ferguson because he's got a guy like Jay Ratliff who they signed that he's going to be able to learn from and develop. So good fit for him and a good pickup for the Bears who are playing obviously for the future. They want to bring that defense back.
Notre Dame is a complete tight end factory here. It's amazing how many. It seems like every year there's a new tight end coming out of there. This year's tight end is Troy Nicholas, number 52, to the Arizona Cardinals. So I think it's pretty obvious they're trying to give Rob Hausler some competition. They're trying to tell him, hey, buddy, we've given you a shot. It's time you step up or else this rookie's going to come in and take your job.
And he's been in the shadow of Tyler Eifert, and, last year he had the chance to finally show himself, and, he proved a lot of people wrong because a lot of people weren't expecting much from him. And he really, he moved himself up in the second round, so that's it's good there. That's a good pickup for the Cardinals. They definitely needed a solid tight end. I think he can develop into one.
The Green Bay Packers, pick number 53. They've become a wide receiver factory as of late. They pick up out of Fresno State Devontae Adams, one of Derek Carr's huge weapons there.
Yep.
This is definitely a big-time player. Of course, it's another one of these wide receivers who probably would have went in the first round in other drafts. I don't think the Packers will really use him that much this year unless they run into some more injuries. Even though they lost Jones, they still have Nelson, who's great. We expect a lot from Randall Cobb this season, and Jarrett Boykin will probably step up as well.
Definitely.
I'm sure Devontae Adams is a guy we'll maybe not see this year, but maybe the year after that, they'll probably start to arrive. The Tennessee Titans, pick number 54. Bishop Sankey, do the Sankey leg out of Washington. He's the first running back selected. I was certainly surprised by this. I kind of liked Hyde coming out of Ohio State as the number one guy, but that said, all the guys kind of mix up, so it's really not that big of a deal. And the guy that went right after, Jeremy Hill out of LSU, this is a guy that some people thought had a first round grade.
I felt Jeremy Hill was probably the best running back in this draft. I mean, the stuff that we saw, he played so good. He absolutely destroyed Auburn's. Auburn had a pretty good run defense last year. Absolutely destroyed. I mean, he looked unbelievable on the field. We saw in a few other games last year as well. He has that potential to be that guy, and he's a big running back. He's solid. He's well built. He's built to be an NFL running back, and the Bengals score again. They bring another good running back here. Obviously, they did it last year with Giovanni Bernard. Now you bring in your power guy like Jeremy Hill to mix in with him. It's a great fit for the Bengals, and I felt that Jeremy Hill was better than Sankey on my list.
Yeah, that was surprising. Definitely shocked me when I saw the Titans pick Sankey just because they needed a running back, but it wasn't the one that I thought they went with. The Bengals pick of Hill, I love. Of course, we expect big things out of Bernard next year. and I guess Hill will take over that law firm role. Maybe not right away, but eventually.
Exactly.
Cody Latimer, wide receiver to the Denver Broncos, that really solidifies their wide receiver crew. It's funny because you have all these guys like Latimer who would go higher in other drafts, so they fall to teams like the Broncos. I mean, come on, really? Do they need another wide receiver? I'm assuming he's big-time insurance in case something happens to Emmanuel Sanders. I know a lot of people said there were some injury concerns there. That's probably what they were doing with that one.
Definitely.
What do you think about the next pick, Kyle? Because this one surprised me. It's the guy we just mentioned, Carlos Hyde. A lot of people had him with a first-round grade. Running backs nowadays tend to slip. But the San Francisco 49ers, I mean, we know Frank Gore's on the outs. You have LaMichael James. You have Latimer, who's supposed to be coming out this year. This one surprised me.
It doesn't really surprise me though. I think Carlos Hyde is a 49er type running back. He's the only guy in this draft that I feel could fill that Frank Gore role if he goes down. And I'm not sold on any other running back for the 49ers. I don't think anybody in San Francisco is sold on any of their other running backs as well. Obviously, Frank Gore is still the man there, but like you said, he's on his way out. You bring in a guy like Carlos Hyde, let him learn from Frank Gore, get a little experience, and if he doesn't play this first season, 2 seasons from now, maybe he is your starting running back. So, good pick here for them. Carlos Hyde was probably the most talked about running back in the draft. A lot of people had him going number 1. So, for him to fall to the 3rd running back picked up for the 49ers, perfect fit for both of them.
Yeah. The only thing I will point out here is this does get me worried about Latimer, Marcus Latimer, who was a guy who really had to sit out all last year after having a huge injury the year before in college. This is a big prototype for a big-time running back, but the fact that they're drafting this running back, maybe this is a clue that he's not going to be coming back here, or at least not in the form that we saw him in college.
Yeah.
That's a shame because, that's just, he lost a lot of money, that's for sure. Let's move on. We have coming up, what do we have? The New Orleans Saints, Stanley Jean-Baptiste. It sounds like he should definitely be going to New Orleans. That's a damn good fit. He's a cornerback out of Nebraska. This is one of those positions that we knew the Saints were going to draft. I had them addressing it with Joyner possibly in the first round. Good to see that they do address it in the second.
Well, I think they struck gold here with Stanley. Stanley's one of those converted receiver. He used to be a receiver. He's like 6'4", 218 pounds. He's a big cornerback. He used to be a receiver. They moved him over to cornerback, kind of like how Richard Sherman was. So obviously he knows offense. He knows how offensive systems work. He's going to be playing cornerback. He's a physical guy. And I think he was really under the radar. Not a lot of people talking about him. Had a great season with Nebraska last year. Saints, once again, have scored again in this draft.
The Indianapolis Colts are actually going to take part in this draft. I know some people might have forgotten all about them at this point, but they do indeed exist, and they are going to draft here in the second round. Pick number 59. Jack Muhort, offensive tackle, Ohio State. I always think that's funny, for the fan base, where you have to wait so long to get your first pick, and then you get, just a regular offensive lineman, which teams will always take that. Yeah. But it's just kind of funny how you have to wait so long just for that.
Yep.
But good call by the Colts. I think they want to improve their running game, to say the least.
He's a very versatile offensive lineman. He kind of plays any position. Some people think his best position is actually at center. So we'll see. We'll see how they use him.
Here we go, Kyle. Coney Ely, another guy with a first-round grade, falling all the way to pick 60 in the Carolina Panthers. Geez, I'm sure Greg Hardy's going to show him the ropes. Charles Johnson hopefully can be healthy this season, and they're going to have a pretty nice set of depth there on the D-line.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with Ely. I don't know what people saw to the reason why he dropped down so low. We both had him going in the first round. This is a huge pickup for the Panthers, man. Their defense was already solid. Now they're just adding to it. I feel they picked him here at this spot just because they're like, wow, really, this guy is here. We can take this guy right now. So I feel there wasn't exactly a need for him, but a want, and it's just going to make their defense that much better. To be able to rotate that guy in with the other 2 defensive ends that they have, Panthers, they're doing pretty good right now in this draft.
I think people dropped him too much just because he didn't get enough sacks and he wasn't a big enough pass rusher. I know that's a big part of the job description for a defensive end, but he just showed so many good plays and he did so many other things right that I think he's going to develop. into an even better player, especially with other good players around him there in Carolina. The Jacksonville Jaguars got another wide receiver, Allen Robinson. First round grade for a wide receiver. I know there's a lot of them, and they don't all fit in the first round, and they're falling all the way to pick 61. This is funny for the Jaguars because they got Marquise Lee. Everybody was saying, what are you going to do without Justin Blackmon? Now they got a pretty decent lineup here as far as wide receiver crew, because you do have the two rookies, but you got a guy like Cecil Shorts, who we know is very good, who can show him the ropes. You don't have to worry about, because you have Bortles, of course. You don't have to worry about an entire rookie crew. You have Gearhart and Cecil Shorts that can show him the ropes.
Yeah, well, and he fits for them right now because you have Cecil Shorts, who's kind of the smaller guy who's gonna burn some people. Kind of the guy that can kind of do everything. You got Marquise Lee, who's a possession receiver, who's going to be the flashy guy to make the plays. Then you got Robinson, who's probably the bigger receiver out of all three of them, who's going to be your every your possession guy you're going to go to when you need that 5 yards, you need that quick slant. He's going to be the guy to get it for you. So Jaguars, they're trying to do everything they can to make Blake Bortles successful, and because I feel they didn't do that with Blaine Gabbert, and not to say that Blaine Gabbert was a waste of a pick when he was, because he definitely was. But I feel that they kind of learned from that. Look, we need to put weapons here for Bortles to be successful.
Yeah, they're doing a good job. They're certainly focused on the offense up to this point. And I just hope that, because I know last year they took they used a high pick there on Luke Jokel. So, man, I really hope he can rebound and have a good season. Yeah. They need him. Mm-hmm. They need their offensive line to hold up here.
Yeah.
Now, pick number 62 was a surprising one. Jimmy Garoppolo, quarterback out of Eastern Illinois. This is a guy a lot of people are extremely high on. If you look at his combine and all this, he just looks like a pro quarterback. His attitude is pretty cool and all that. He seems like he's definitely got a good head on his shoulders. Nice body there. So we'll see what happens with that situation. Yes. I think that Ryan Mallett may be heading to Houston. It takes two to tango, so they're really going to have to agree on something here to make that happen.
Yeah.
But they do bring in this talented quarterback.
I think for Jimmy Garoppolo, this is the best place he could have possibly landed. I mean, out of any place for him to land, this is perfect because he's going to learn from one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Tom Brady's coming to the end of his career as well. He's got a couple more seasons left in him. Jimmy Garoppolo was a guy they're saying is a project quarterback. He's a guy that if he can come in, he can learn how to be an NFL quarterback. He's got all the tangibles. He's got the quickest release out of any quarterback in the draft. He's got great footwork. He's very smart. So once he learns how to run a true, offensive NFL type offense, you're gonna have Belichick teaching him, things. I mean, couldn't have worked out better for him, and this guy could be the future for the New England Patriots.
Mm-hmm. And we should mention, as much as he can be the future for the New England Patriots, he can also be the next Ryan Mallett as well. You could see, possibly maybe he come in for a game or who knows why, and then the Patriots just trade him just like they're doing Ryan Mallett. Not to say that's going to happen, but that is something they'd like to do. Moving on to, we have, which one are we on here, Kyle?
We are pick 63, the Miami Dolphins, and they actually get this from the 49ers. The 49ers had traded up with the Dolphins for the 57th pick to pick Carlos Hyde. Dolphins here going with LSU's Jarvis Landry, wide receiver. Mm-hmm. Now this is interesting because this is the second LSU receiver to go in this draft, and this is only in the second round here. So two LSU guys going first and second round. I can't remember the last time that's happened.
Yeah, I think it was kind of funny though. I was watching the NFL Network coverage of it, and Mike Mayock said something I thought was funny, where he said, "Oh, if you look at him and Odell Beckham, you can't really tell the difference," which I thought was a really stupid comment because Odell Beckham has lightning fast speed and this guy's a lot slower. That's a big difference here, Mike Mayock. But that said, he's still a very physical receiver just like Beckham. He's still got great hands like Beckham. So those things are true, but he's slower. As long as he can use that physical nature of his to get enough space, he should be fine with those good hands.
Definitely.
And Miami did need a good wide receiver to match up with what they got, Mike Wallace and company. So that is a nice matchup there. I think he should be a pretty good number 2, number 3 receiver in that system.
Yep.
Seattle Seahawks, they made a pick here. Justin Britt, offensive tackle out of Missouri. I thought they were going to bolster that offensive line because it was really their only weakness coming into the offseason. They didn't do it at first, but now they do address it in the second round. Very smart pick. these guys just really know what they're doing. The only thing I will point out is Justin Britt is not the guy I thought they were going to get. I mean, I had a lot of guys rated over him, but hey, they know what they're doing. They won the Super Bowl. I'll give them the benefit of the
they
doubt.
must have saw something that they liked. It's kind of an interesting pick here, but maybe they felt that he was the best that's left. I mean, there's been a lot of tackles already been drafted, so I'm sure they were kind of feeling the pressure. Like, hey, we need to get somebody. Might not exactly been the guy that they wanted. Maybe they're hoping somebody else is going to fall to them. But when you kind of get to that point where it's like, look, we don't have a whole lot to choose from. We need to go with a guy. Maybe they like something about him more than the other guys. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, and I'm sure they definitely have the right thing in mind here, because they've proven that they're one of the smartest ownership groups, management groups, coaching groups, all of the above. Seattle Seahawks A+++. Thank you guys for joining us for our recap of the second round. Make sure to stick around for our third round recap, starting with the Houston Texans, perhaps the number one team in this draft as far as what they've done so far. Let's see what they do in the third round. We'll catch you there.